Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I am jacking with my camera. It all of a sudden decided it didn't want to turn on, so now we have. Now I am on the weird angled Facebook FaceTime camera, which I hate, on my MacBook, but I'm trying to get the other camera to work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We shall see. Oh, and I just accidentally switched cameras. We shall see if it actually works here. It's not working, which means I can't stream on. Which means I can't stream on the other ones either. So, we may just be doing a single stream here because. Sorry, we have some minor technical difficulties. Let me see if I can get this camera working. So how is everybody doing? Thanks for joining me. I know it's just a little bit of a mess right now because I'm trying to get my GoPro to connect to my streaming, and it's a bit wonky, and it was working earlier, but of course now it isn't, because that's of course how all of this stuff works. And so, well, my MacBook camera is working, but my GoPro camera isn't. So now I've got this weird angle looking right straight up my nose. So let's see. Okay, now it's working. Let me see if we can go in here, switch to it. Okay, that's not much. There we go. Okay, that's better. Let's go this way. Ain't nobody want to see my bed. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. Now let's start the stream on Facebook here, because I have got we'll go ahead and start the Instagram stream here, because we are streaming on Instagram. We are streaming on. Oh Christ! Of course it messed up. We are trying to stream on everything here, but these things are being a little bit wonky. Disconnect. Okay, let's see. Well, we may not be streaming on. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. All right, we're going to stick with YouTube. We'll stick with YouTube here. Let's see. Oh, the camera went away again, didn't it? Okay. Jeez. This camera, I swear, it has like the connection is just a little bit broken. So if anyone wants to go onto Amazon and buy me a new GoPro, I would not object to that, if we're being completely honest, because yeah. Oh well, we're gonna have to use a computer today, so sorry guys, but we can turn down the slide a little bit because it doesn't need as much light. So, okay, well, this is gonna have to work today, so it is what it is, All right, so today I premiered a video from. I was reacting to Erica apparently from Latvia. Yeah, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. So I reacted for a video from Ask Erica, and she did this video, 9 things I wish I had known before I moved to Germany. And we can talk about that. And I want to answer questions. I want y'all to ask me questions. I have a video premiering that I haven't put the premiere up yet, but did I already take it out of here? I did. This video that I'm premiering, what is her name? Hello, Erica. Not ask Erica. Hello, Erica. Hello, Erica. Video I am premiering. Yeah, you're right. It's just kind of not a lot I can do about it. I can't really move it. It's just the stupid camera. This won't work. I made a video this past weekend about the American healthcare insurance system, basically. God bless it. And I'd like to talk about that. And I'd like to talk about what happened this other day. Share screen. Let's share this for now. I want to talk about, we can talk about Hello, Erica. That's fine. But I want to talk about this man who shot and killed, executed the CEO of one of the largest health insurance companies in the U.S. He runs United Healthcare System, United Healthcare Insurance Company, and he was executed in New York City at about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning by what appears to be a pretty professional hit. Let's see. I think we may have got the camera working. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. I'll try to be paying attention. If a camera goes out, somebody say something to me, because I have a tendency that I'm looking at the screen. I'm not necessarily looking at the camera. So if you could, please let me know if the camera goes out again. So yeah, I made a video about the U.S. healthcare system. And we've talked about it a lot in the past, about just how pathetic the system works, how the system works in the U.S., and how you can pay for insurance and pay into insurance, but never actually get the benefits of having insurance. And it's such a racket system that, you never want to condemn someone being killed, right? We're supposed to all be against this. How they did it, he was detained in Pennsylvania. Well, I figured he was out of the country by now. So let's look this up. Let's do a little live stream and look up here. United Healthcare. Cancel. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, we were on this one. Okay, let's see. My computer is running slow as molasses. Probably because I got all of these streaming services open. I've got OBS open. I've got Streamlab. I've got. Let's quit that. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make my computer run a little faster. Okay. So, news stories. United Healthcare CEO shot and killed. exclusive. Luigi Mangione, ID'd as person of interest in United Healthcare CEO. Police questioning man in connection with United Healthcare CEO. Suspect in custody. So this is recovered and arrest shows ill will toward corporate America. Well, why would there be such ill will toward corporate America? Why would that possibly be the case? I can't imagine. I can't imagine why that would be the case. Um, you know, their entire business plan is built on taking your money and then finding any excuse not to pay a claim when you have to actually use the doctor. And so the number one reason people file bankruptcy in the United States is medical debt. Um, I'm trying to find the statistics. Hi, Clara. Nice to see you. Hey there, DH. Welcome. Hey, Mike. Good to see you guys. I'm talking about this right here. I'm talking about the United Healthcare, the murder of the United Healthcare. But what I want to talk about is the just complete shrugging by most people of this murder, that they're like, you know, this. I saw somebody say it perfectly. This is not a left or right issue. This is an up and down issue. If any issue can unite the US, it's the fact that corporate America, billionaire insurance companies, steal money from people and allow people to die so that their shareholders can make more money. If there is a hell, and if there is justice in this world, then the people who perpetrate this system belong there. I don't believe in hell. I think hell is other people, but I think that I think this shows that there is something coming at some point. At some point, the divide is going to be the wealth gap is going to be so great that the poor don't have anything to lose. Us normal people don't have anything to lose. And there are a lot more of us than there are of them. So, do I condone the murder of this person? Of course not. I don't guess. I mean, murder, vengeance, retaliation is, as a policy, is probably not great. Probably not good optics. I can't remember who it was that said it, but they said, I've never wished someone dead, but I have read with glee some obituaries. So that's kind of how I feel about this. But maybe we should talk about Erica, and maybe we should talk about. We can go through this. I just wanted to touch on that briefly, because it is. There's something deeper underlying the reason why this person did this. I think the U.S. can be a great place to live, provided you're one of those people that doesn't have to worry about money. If you have the money, it has the best healthcare in the world. If you have the money, it has the best resources in the world. If you have the money, so it's a great place if you have money. It is the system. Yeah, it absolutely is the system. And I think it's most glaring in the US, but it's not a only US thing, you know. It's a neoliberal capitalist thing. Oh, and I lost my camera because of course I did. So you guys got to tell me. Um, uh, this stupid camera. Again, maybe I'll put a link an Amazon wish list if you guys want to like someone wants to buy me a GoPro because my GoPro is trying to die. It's so how I have to run the GoPro with my with this setup is I have to plug it in to my computer using a USB-C cable, and I think the USB-C connection is a little bit. Uh, it's like there's a short in there somewhere because it keeps going out. Like I'm having to jiggle with it to get it to work, and now it's not working at all. But so we're gonna have to use the MacBook camera now. That's fine. Um, I was wanting to stream. I was wanting to try to stream on Instagram and um, I was wanting to stream on Instagram and uh, Facebook as well at the same time. I had grand plans, but it just wasn't happening. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's a reason I left. Like all of the guns and all of that. All of the divide. It's just too much for me. And but let's talk about Hello Erica here. Let me pull up her page. Hello, Erica. I have told by Mike here. He sent me a message while we were doing the premiere that she actually is back. She's from Latvia. She's back in Latvia now, and which is kind of a shame. But let's see. Things Europeans will never. Hey, why don't we watch this? Oh, it's 40 minutes long. Well, let's watch this and see if we can watch this together.
I just got fixated on somebody. When I say somebody, I mean you.
When you think of America, you might be
Can you
thinking
guys
of Hollywood,
hear the
cowboys,
volume?
that song about a party in the USA, or the 9th of November.
What's
Wait,
November?
9th of November? Anyways, these are the things that I don't really get about the US.
9th of November. That's not an American thing. So y'all can hear the volume okay on this? So Mike's saying she lived in a town near Dortmund before she moved to Riga.
Hey, first up on my list are Kit Kats. Why do they look like this? What's wrong with their logo? Why does it look like it's made in Microsoft Paint? And why is there this pale yellow line next to the letters? I don't accept it. I don't approve it. This is how a Kit Kat looks in other countries. I think it looks way more polished, way simpler, but in a better way. Okay. Also, look at these colors that represent the added flavor to this specific Kit Kat.
Now, I don't know about the design, but boy, that hazelnut flavored Kit Kat really sounds good. I don't know about you guys, but I like anything hazelnut flavored. I mean, I am a sucker for a good hazelnut flavored candy bar. Um, Best audio balance ever. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say I don't balance my audio very well? I don't.
It looks
I
nice,
reject
bright,
that.
inviting. You want to take.
But I don't know. I honestly, if we're looking at these together, I think I prefer the. I think I prefer the American design. I think it looks better. What do you guys think? I think it's just a better look. Like, look at that. I mean, it's the white with it's. I don't know. I like that. I like that a lot better. If we're being honest. What? I love Kit Kats. Actually, I like the big cats, like the big thick Kit Kats. Yeah, she's quite a little firecracker. But apparently, she's back in Latvia now, according to Mike. So
Take a bite, you want to take a break. What happened here? Why is it so muted? I feel like they
it's
just stopped trying. And you might be thinking, why do I care so much? Well, I am a graphic designer, so I am somewhat qualified to talk about this. So I'm the type of person that goes to a restaurant and looks at the menu and says, is this Comic Sans? The short answer to this question is why Kit Kats look different.
she said the one from the U.S. looks like it came from Microsoft Paint, not from not from the not from Europe, right? Or am I wrong about that? Did I mishear her?
Is because they're produced by two different companies. One is produced by Hershey's and the other one is by Nestle. So both options are not that great. The Mars bar. In America, there's no such thing as a Mars bar, but there is a Milky Way, which
That is most definitely not true. We have the Mars bar for sure. I've had Mars bars in the U.S. It was one of my favorite candies. It's like a Snickers, but instead of peanuts,
is basically the
it's
same
almonds.
thing, just named differently and in a different package. Probably
It's
different
not true.
ingredients as well, but it is produced by the same company. But you might be thinking Milky Way, that sounds familiar. Where there is a Milky Way in Europe. It does not have caramel in it, but it does have nougat. And this Milky Way does not exist in America, but there is such a thing as Three Musketeers, which is a very similar chocolate bar. Just probably a bit bigger with a bit of a different ingredients, but it's the same experience. To be honest, I like the name Three Musketeer. I think that's
It's a
I
good
would
name.
like to be a musketeer
Ah,
someday. If
that
I
was
would have
cute.
to choose a profession, being a musketeer, top 3. It is kind of a strange switch up happening here. It's like seeing a movie poster translated into your mother tongue, and you look at the title and you're like, this isn't how it's supposed to be translated. The movie Frozen, cold.
Mars is definitely in the U.S. though. I am 100% certain Mars bars are in the U.S. Like now I'm now I'm curious. Huh. So the Mars bars, commonly known as Mars bar, is the name of a variety of chocolate. Uh, Go away. Let's see. UK, United States. In the United States, Mars was a candy with toasted almonds coated. Originally, it did not have caramel, but at some point, it was discontinued in 2002. In 2003, the company introduced a replacement called Snickers Almond. Snickers Almond. Well, son of a bitch. I did not know that. All of this time, I've thought we've had Mars, but a Snickers Almond is the same thing. The Mars bar was relaunched in 2010, discontinued again at the end of 2011, relaunched again in September 2016. Ethel M., the gourmet chocolate subsidiary of Mars Incorporated, launched it again. Okay, well, so I'm confused. It looks like it was launched in 2016. 2016 version was the original American recipe without caramel. It was available, but they don't say if it was. They don't say if it was canceled. Was it discontinued again? I don't know, but there is the Snickers almond, which is essentially the same thing. I mean, a Snickers almond. I mean, a Mars bar was a Snickers with almonds instead of peanuts. So, you know, where did my oh so yeah, all right. I went down a rabbit hole. I went down a rabbit hole. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yep. No audio, huh? Okay, well, let's see. What can we do to fix that?
They're still using Fahrenheit
What
because
about
it's
now?
too difficult to switch, and I understand, but also why? Why? Why did
Is
this
it working
happen?
now?
And in a similar sense, it also
All right. I don't know. When I switched tabs for whatever reason, it
applies to
went
pounds,
away.
miles, and inches and feet. The British took their measurements with them, and they were like, "Hey,
I blame the British for everything, if we're being honest. It's all about colonialism.
Cosmos Direkt Flex Invest mit bis zu 9% Rendite pro Jahr. Jetzt
We got all the
abschließen.
worst traits. Good gravy. We got
use
all the
this,"
worst
and they were
British
like, "Sure,
traits.
we obey." I don't know if that's how it actually happened, but the British did bring their measurements to the US. The British still also use these measurements, which is confusing because pounds is like a way to measure weight and also their money. So I don't know why they couldn't come up with a different name. And here again, Americans tried implementing the metric system and it just didn't work for them. So they just stick to what they know.
You know, we're a country full of fucking morons. You think it would be easier to use centimeters, millimeters, meters when everything is in the tens, right? In the 110, 10. Since we have to take off our shoes to count to 20, you think it would be easier for us to do it that way. But no. We rely on quarter quarter inch and a teaspoon, a tablespoon. What? Just give me 100 milliliters, man.
By the way, how are you? Yeah, you.
Good.
I'm
Thank
talking
you.
directly to you and only you right now.
Well, thanks.
Well, if you actually answered how you actually feel, you're doing it all wrong. Why would I care? What's the point of this question? Why can't you just say hello, nice to meet you, hey, great to see you again, instead of hey, how are you, I'm good, how are you? I fully get that it's a way you greet people, but it's just strange to me. And I think to a lot of other people, it just feels insincere. I know if you actually care, after you greeted each other, you would say, hey man, how are you actually doing? But you're asking a question, but also not really. And then Europeans are like, yeah, I'm actually not having a good day. My piano was stolen by a cat, so I don't really know what to do. The police are not taking me seriously. And they're like, I didn't really ask. I was just being friendly. Moving on to the next thing. You don't have WhatsApp?
Yeah, that's true. Hey, what's up? I would say, hey, what's up? Or hey, how are you? And the only answer you're expected to give is good. And if you start telling me that, um, oh, I, I hurt my back. Well, okay, you know. But somebody told me that "hallo," the German "hallo," incorporates that in it. So like, hey, hello. You're also asking. You're not only saying hi. You're saying, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Good, and you. It's all incorporated into the one phrase. This is 39 minutes long. I hadn't
WhatsApp
planned
though.
on
I mean,
streaming this long,
honestly,
but
good for you. Why can't you say good for you without actually sounding like an asshole? I mean, we use this because it's free, so it's easy to text people, friends, family that lives abroad. You just need Wi-Fi or internet for it to work. Sending text messages to each other would be way more expensive and it would cost extra. So, the fact that you don't use WhatsApp is completely fine. I mean, I don't know why we're using this specific app. Thankfully, you don't have to pay for it.
WhatsApp
Yet,
is
when
owned by
calorie counts to
Facebook.
portion sizes, we wanted to find the biggest
Do we really
differences
wanna-
between the UK and US food. Why is your food so big? Or more specifically, why are the portion sizes so ginormous? I mean,
If you want to know why we have an obesity problem in the US, look at the sizes of our drinks. Look at the sizes of our sodas. Look at the sizes of our fries. Yeah, everything is freaking huge.
these are the drinks that you can get in Starbucks. The largest drink size you can get in UK and probably the rest of Europe is 590 milliliters, which is 20 ounces. In America, it's 890 milliliters. That's such a big difference. I mean, I know you guys love ice, so probably this cup is like half ice, but still, like, it's bigger than my head. Like, it's so huge. This not only applies to drinks, but it also applies to fries. Well, just food in general. Like McDonald's fries, the big pack, 130 grams. In America, 190 grams. 46% increase.
I feel like I'm gonna start getting defensive about my Heimat. If this is 39 minutes long, I'm gonna be like, oh wait, we don't do everything bad, but yeah, our portion sizes are really big. That's for sure.
Why is everything bigger in America? Please.
I am a fan of having ice in the soda, like at least some, not just like two or three pieces. I like a decent amount of ice, but in it here with the sodas that they serve, like if you go to McDonald's, the sodas, like one thing I will say, the fountain drinks in the US are way better than the fountain drinks here, in my opinion. I don't like as much the sodas you get um, from McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. I don't think they taste very good. They don't taste as good as they taste in the US. So I will say I prefer fountain sodas in the US than I do here. I don't. It's just something. It's just something about it that and it it doesn't come out of the machine in the U.S. as cold because I think the cold affects the carbonation. Now, I mean, I'm not a soda scientist, so I could be wrong, but um, the drinks here just don't. The sodas here, like the Cokes and stuff, don't seem as carbonated as they do in the U.S. And so I think that might be because they're not quite as cold when they're served when they come out of the machine. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong about that.
Please explain. And why do you need so many sizes of Kit Kats?
She is really hung up on Kit Kats.
I mean, here it says that it's for sharing, but do we actually share? Because I don't know if I even have friends
No.
that like Kit Kat this much, or at least that live
I'm not sharing a Kit Kat.
close to me. So, and
I
same
love
goes for
Kit
these
Kat.
Oreos. Like in Europe, I've
Ooh.
never seen a bag like this, like a ginormous pack of Oreos.
No, but man, I am like Oreos are my favorite cookie to buy in the store, and I really like the chocolate cream Oreos and the mint cream and the golden Oreos. And I like the golden Oreos a lot, but I prefer the chocolate cream Oreos are the best, and you can't get these here. They used to have a store here in Berlin called the American Foods for You, and you could get all of the flavors of the Oreos. I mean, they were really expensive, like 12 euros for a thing of cookies. But if somebody wanted to send me some Oreos, I wouldn't say no. I love Oreos. They're my favorite. They're my favorite store cookies.
I mean, maybe we just don't like Oreos that much. We have our own cookies and stuff. And look at all these flavors. It's really tempting to buy one and try it. The problem with something like this is that
They're so good.
if I have it in my house, I'll be munching on it all the time. Even if
me
I
too.
don't necessarily want to, but they're there, so I have to, kind of. I grew up in the type of household where if we have cake, it's gonna be there for 2 days and then it's gone. So you better have some while you can. So I'm working on that. Plus the cookies get stale if you leave them out for long. The real question is do you also have these tubes of Oreos in different
really.
flavors? I can imagine you have like a pack of 2 or, you know, a pack of 10. But does the pack of 10 come with all of this
I've only seen those in like the original cookies, but not like not like double stuff or any of the other ones. I don't think.
assortment of experiences? Or is it just these? Because those are the ones that I see everybody trying. So let me know. Next up, we have plastic cups and paper plates. I feel
No way,
like
bro. They're so
Americans use
good.
way too many of them, or way too often. If you're throwing a picture,
But I also grew up with them. You know, I think these things you develop a taste for them in your youth, and and part of it is nostalgia. Part of it is like, you know, this is what I grew up eating, and so I like it. Like you like what you grew up eating. You know what I mean? Like stale bread and and partially sugared cookies. You know, don't I'm kidding. I really I like German cookies too, but the Oreo is really good.
picnic or a party, completely understandable why you would have them. Fully on board with that. But my problem with this is the usage of paper plates and plastic cups
Yeah,
for every day. I've seen some YouTubers that I like and also YouTubers that I don't like anymore using paper plates for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and then just throwing them away when they're done with it.
yeah,
And it
we do
feels
that a
so
lot.
wasteful. I understand that it's a convenience thing of like finishing your meal and then throwing it away and not having to do the dishes, but it can't be good for the environment. I mean, we have to think about it just a little bit. I feel bad when I buy like paprika wrapped in plastic and then I have to unwrap it and throw the plastic away. I can't imagine myself just having plastic cups and plastic forks that I use and just throw them away. Even as a student, I don't think I knew
Yeah.
a single person that did this. Probably they exist, but I feel like this is typical maybe for a student life. Which again, I get it, but it's just like plates are not that expensive. I guess it's the doing the dishes part that's annoying.
It's the doing
Plus,
the
I've
dishes
seen this
part.
video of a person being completely in shock that if you decide to have your coffee at a Starbucks inside instead of to go, then it's served in a little ceramic cup with a ceramic plate.
Yep, for
And
sure.
apparently, you guys don't have that. You just have
We
plastic
do.
to-go
Some
cups,
places
even
have
if
it.
you want to sit there and drink your coffee. I mean, it probably is like that if
It really that really varies from store to store and place to place. I've gotten some places for sure that have. Sometimes you have to ask for it. You say you want a cup here. Yeah, you have to. Sometimes you have to ask for it.
you're in like a little cute cafe or something, but not in a Starbucks. Speaking of red solo cups, the legal drinking age is 21.
Yeah,
Why? Why? You can vote at 18, you can legally drive a car at 16, but you
right.
can only legally drink at 21. Make it make sense.
Because back in the 20s, was it the 20s? Yeah, it was the 20s. I can't remember the date. There was a thing called prohibition, and in prohibition they outlawed all alcohol. And then that just kind of tells where this goes, right? We are a country of teetotalers. The age used to be 18. And then um, there was this whole outrage about drink driving, right? People driving after drinking. And so the federal government said, okay, well, the legal drinking age is 21 now because they were afraid of young people drinking too much and then driving, which I mean, I don't know what the difference between an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old doing that is, but maybe there's something. But it wasn't I think the last state to make Louisiana used to be 18 was 18. The drinking age in Louisiana was 18, the latest. That was the last state to change the drinking age, and basically because the federal government said, well, we're not going to give you any more money to repair your highways if you don't if you don't raise the drinking age.
In some ways, I do understand why the drinking age is so high, and it's kind of
Yep,
difficult to explain
you can have a
because,
gun,
like,
but you can't have a
you
beer.
have 16, 17 year
You can
olds
go to
driving
war.
to school, driving themselves to school, and
You can go to war. You can join the military at 18, but you can't drink a beer. It doesn't make sense.
underage drinking happens anyways, and you don't want them to do that because they don't know what consequences mean yet. And then people aged from 18 to 20 that are maybe in college and live close by, so they don't even need a car to drive, if they drink a little bit of beer at their friend's place, they are more aware to not get into the car and drive off. You know what I mean? I'm not encouraging underage drinking. I don't even like alcohol. When I have a sip of wine, my head hurts. So I'm like, this is not fun. I just want
I
to go to
know,
bed now.
me
It
too.
happens, so we have to somehow deal with it. Anyways, this is the map of legal drinking ages, and 21 is not a popular one. Most of the countries are pro 18, and some countries allow like a small alcoholic percentage at like 16. I'm saying it's weird, but also I kind of get it, but also I don't know. Paid days off. The US has no national requirements for paid days off or vacation days. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Isn't
pretty
that
bad.
insane? I thought they would
Pretty
have at
bad.
least like 5 or 10, like not a lot, way less than Europeans, but none, just none. Instead, businesses rely on creating their own PTO policies, and we all know how that goes. 76% of Americans have access to PTOs. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that civilians and private industry employees typically get 11 days after 1 year of service, 15 after 5, 18 after 18.
Are you sure about that, Mike? I don't think that was the case when I was in. I could be very wrong. Because we had always people getting in trouble drinking underage when I was in.
Years? Dude, no. No. In Europe, workers typically have 20 to 30 days of paid days off. And here's a map of paid days off in other countries.
For sure.
The gray part
For sure,
means
for sure.
there's no legal requirement. There are probably tiny little countries that also have this thing, but all this part is so colorful, meaning they do have at least from 5 to 30 days off. What's also so ununderstandable to me is that you don't have sick days. You're telling me if I break a leg, that's my fault?
Yep.
Well, technically it is probably because I'm bad at walking, but I broke a leg. I can't work. I need to survive. I need to pay bills. I need to get food. Like, hello? Typically, in the US, you get like 5 to 7 sick days. So if you get sick, you're like, hey, can I use up my sick days? Instead of like, hey, I'm sick. I need to recover. I don't
was
care
that,
about
Mike?
working.
Was that
I
a
want
while
to get
ago?
healthy. Honestly, dude,
I mean,
that's so crazy. That's like, I completely don't get it. Like,
when I was in like 2000 or 98 to 2004, I don't think it was.
if I'm sick with the flu, I can't control how much time my body needs to recover and get back to work in a healthy state. And if I start to stress that my sick days are not enough to cover my recovery, then it's just gonna take longer. And then what happens if you have like a bad disease? Like, I'm not gonna give examples of any of them because they're all bad. What if you need a month to recover or 6 months to recover? What if you need to do medical procedures to feel healthy again? The one thing in our lives that is actually important is being healthy. Because if you're sick and it's really bad, that's the only thing you can focus on, mentally and, well, physically. So if I'm already dealing with a lot of things of trying to stay alive, I can't focus on doing the grind, making money, getting dough, and also the whole like healthcare system. I'm not gonna get into that. I wish you good luck. If you're an American, I'm gonna be honest, European healthcare in like many countries is better in so many ways, but also it's like not perfect at all. Usually they're understaffed and overworked, and if you're not dying, but you have some kind of chronic pain, it is really difficult to get diagnosed as to what it actually is. But at least we don't have to pay for an ambulance. Well, technically we do have to pay it through taxes and all that stuff, but come on. You call an ambulance and then you have to pay like $1,000 for.
So when I cut my foot open a couple years ago, I was like, I cut it in the morning, and then I was like, or in like mid afternoon, I was like, oh, this sucks. Well, we'll see if it stops bleeding. And then by about 11 o'clock that night, I was like, it ain't stopping bleeding. So I wrapped my foot up in. I wrapped my foot up in like with like toilet paper, shoved it in a shoe, and then hobbled myself down to the emergency room. And by the time I got to, when I got there, my shoe had just basically like I bled through my shoe, and I had hobbled like taken the metro. I was in pain because my foot was cut open, and I got to the hospital, waited forever, got sewed up, and the doctor was like, "Well, how did you get here?" I was like, "Well, I took the U-Bahn," and he was like, "Well, why didn't you take the why didn't you call an ambulance?" I'm like, "I'm American, man. Like, we don't call ambulances unless you're dying or you're gonna have to pay for that." There was no way. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind to call an ambulance. Because of that fact that it was going to cost like $1,000 to call an ambulance in the U.S. That's ingrained in my head. You don't call an ambulance unless you have to, unless you're dying.
Or just a drive to the hospital? Please, I'm dying. I need an ambulance. What do you mean? In a lot of European countries, you do get paid when you're sick. Some countries require you to go to the doctor and have a little piece of paper saying like, "Hey, boss, I'm sick. Can I please have 2 weeks off?" Well, the doctor tells you how many weeks you need, whatever. So maybe the first 3 days you don't get paid, and then later you get paid, but only half of the salary. In different countries, it's in different schemes. But in general, you get paid, at least a little bit, for quite some time. Moving on to something
Erica,
else, stalls.
this is a 40-minute long video, Erica. I think we could have done a little bit of editing on this. This is long.
Why do they have such ginormous gaps on the bottom?
Oh my God, these stalls, y'all. When I was I remember this vividly. I remember being in kindergarten. 5 years old, and I go to the bathroom, and I had a bad stomach, so I had to sit down to use the bathroom. And I'm sitting there using the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, this head pops out underneath the stall into my stall, and I was terrorized by that head. I still see that head popping out of the stall, and for the longest time, I could not. I couldn't use the public. I couldn't go to the bathroom in the public because I was terrified someone's head was going to pop out underneath the stall. And it was some kid, some stupid kid. But I was so scared that someone's going to pop their head out underneath the stall that for years I wouldn't go to the bathroom in public.
And why do they have such ginormous gaps in the door? So that people can just walk by you and look into your soul while you're trying your best to not fart in a public bathroom. The one positive thing about this is you get really funny TikToks.
Okay.
Upon my academic research or just Googling, the main reason for this is just so that people don't do anything suspicious in those stalls. So they just don't trust you, which is fair. Why would you trust a stranger? In some countries, cities in Europe, you will find public bathrooms that do have a gap underneath, but you won't find one that's like, looking in type of gap. In a lot of places, you'll find that the stalls are just a little room with a toilet and some hooks to hook your bag and toilet paper and a trash can. So I don't get it. Invasion of privacy. Next slide. Moving out at 18. I feel like I heard so many people talk about being kicked out or being forced to move out at 18. It's such a bizarre concept to me because mom and dad, you had me, you have to pay the consequences. I don't have a job right now. I'm looking for one, so I need a place to stay. Maybe back.
This is becoming less and less a thing because people can't afford to live on their own anymore like they could 25, 30 years ago. So yeah, it's becoming less and less a thing. So more and more kids. I know my stepkids are lived with their mom for they're 22 and 23 now, and one of them just got married. So they're not living there now, but up until then he was living with mom, and then well, I know he was living with his cousin for a while, but then my other stepkid was until he was like 21. So yeah, it's becoming more and more a thing of kids staying longer with their parents.
Back in your day, you can just have your printed out resume, march into a company, put it on their desk, and say, "Hey, you hiring anybody?" And they're like, "Gosh darn it, you got us. See you next Monday." And then proceed to have this job for the next 10 years. Now it doesn't work like that. It is really difficult to find a job.
Yeah,
Trust
sure.
me, I'm speaking out of experience. Nowadays, if you have a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, and 7 years of experience, you might get a job that just pays you enough. So for now, I do need your help and support. And I don't get why parents just like...
Yeah, for sure. And I think honestly, I think she is um I think she's reacting more to how like TV portrays it. I don't think in the vast majority of people in the vast majority of situations is this happening where people are being said, "Oh, you got to pay rent." I've never heard that. I think that's more about. I think that happens more on TV and movies than in real life. Yeah. See, I didn't think so. I didn't think that was a thing, but I wasn't gonna say for sure because I hadn't looked it up. But yeah, I didn't think that was a thing. All right. This is man. I'm gonna be here. I was planning on
disown their children and just like, "Hey,
going till
buddy,
9:30.
you're on your own. Good luck." Huh? Does this happen in other countries and in other families? Probably. But those families probably don't love you. Again, I'm not saying that every American does that. No. There are many families that are great and lovely and nice and would never do that to their child. But it is more common to see this phenomenon in the US.
It may be more common in the U.S. to see that phenomenon, but I don't think it's common. Not anymore.
Maybe in Canada too. I don't know. I'm talking about America today. And since we're talking about America, why is it called America? Why is the United States of America just as shortened to America? America is this and this. These both are Americas, North America and South America. But somehow, when we say America, we all know we're talking about the United States of America, or the great USA. Make USA great again, as they say. And when you Google America, the USA is what you get. The name of the continent, America, is based on an Italian explorer that suggested that, "Hey guys, I think this is new land." And then much later, the British colonies decided to move away from the British Empire and they had to name themselves somehow differently. And so they were like, "Hey guys, America, Americans."
This is kind of cute with the with her American history. It's kind of funny.
Sounds pretty good. So now we know them as Americans. Now let's go back and talk about food again. More specifically, supermarkets. If you know me, I love supermarkets. They are so much fun. Why are they so big? Why are supermarkets so big?
You got to have a lot of
So
choices.
big. Too big. Don't get me wrong, I do like going to like a big supermarket or a hypermarket like Kaufland and like walking around, exploring things that it has, and looking at the...
I spend so much time in Kaufland, y'all. I need to make a video on exploring Kaufland. Maybe I'll do a live stream from Kaufland next time I go. Problem is when I film there, they give me dirty looks and tell me not to film.
the options, but it's so exhausting. Like I don't really want to go there all the time. It's just too big.
You don't have
Like
to.
usually how Kaufland specifically is designed is that you have to go like around the whole store to get to the cash register. And if you forget to buy like some fruits or like an avocado, you have to go all the way back around to get your vegetables, and then you go all the way back to the cash register.
I mean, the U.S. is pretty big, you know. It's pretty big in and of itself. But yeah, but not all grocery stores are like the size of Kaufland or like super Walmarts. You know, not all of them are, but a lot of them are. And you can go. When I was grocery shopping, excuse me, I normally wouldn't. I was not like a Walmart grocery shopper. I would go to when I was depending on where I lived. I would either go to a Kroger or a Tom Thumb. Those were my two grocery stores where I was, and they were just like they weren't as big as Kaufland, but they were bigger than say an Aldi. You know, there's a Reva in in Tempelhof, Marienfeld actually, that is about the size of an American grocery store. So, you know, they're bigger than bigger than a Lidl or an Aldi, but smaller than a Walmart or a Kaufland.
register, which is just kind of annoying. And I'm the type of person that loves to walk, loves to collect steps, but sometimes after a long day of work, I just want to go in, buy my stuff, and leave, and not walk extra 2K steps just to find everything that I need. Plus, again, back to portion sizes, everything is so big. I mean, yeah, I guess they're family size, but does your family need this much milk? You can buy like a gallon of milk, like a big jug of milk. That's not really a thing here.
That seems to me, Clara, that seems to be um, encouragement. You're encouraging your kid to do something. You're like, okay, so you want to party and just hang around? Well, then you can pay rent. If you go to school, maybe we can talk. But if you're just gonna sit around and do nothing, you can go get a job and you can pay rent. I yeah, I wish my ex had done that with her youngest. He needed that done for sure.
Unless you like go to a cash and carry store, or maybe one brand has that. Other countries also have families, but we just don't find the need to have such big items. Technically, I would like to see like a comparison of like, is it better to buy a gallon of milk if you have a big family, or
American grocery stores, American refrigerators are bigger than European refrigerators. So we can hold, they can hold, I guess we can hold, the refrigerators can hold more food. Um, so we do bigger shopping trips less often. Like I would go to the grocery store back in the US like once a week. I would buy everything. I would probably spend, $200 or whatever and buy everything for the week. I would come back with a trunk full of groceries. It would take me like two or three trips from the car to get all my groceries in. And and then I wouldn't go again for a week. I would go grocery shopping Sunday morning. Sunday morning was my grocery shopping day because that's when everybody was at church, and so it was a lot easier to go grocery shopping. But here, I mean, I go to the grocery store probably every other day, at least every other day. Sometimes I go every day and buy a few things, bread or something. But you're only buying things for 2 or 3 days max, Whereas I would buy things for a whole week back home.
or two individual packages of 1 liters of milk, because this option will
Yeah.
produce more waste, but this option might produce more food waste if it's not fully taken care of. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person making YouTube videos. And onions. What
I will also say a gallon of milk in my house when I had two growing boys, it lasted about 2 days max, maybe three, maybe three. Just the amount of cereal and the amount of milk they drink is insane. They drink a lot of milk.
what happened to the onions? Look at this one. This one is the typical average sized onion. And this one is an American onion. Oh my god. I've seen one in real life and I was shocked. I was like, wow, this is really what it is all about.
What? It's a different kind of onion. It's a Vidalia onion. It's a sweeter onion. You just cut it up and use it like any other onion. I don't understand. I don't know. You're making a lot of good points. This is not a hill I'm willing to die on. I've seen big onions here too, big yellow onions here too. It's a weird hill. It's just a different onion.
Giant ass onions. I do enjoy cooking, but I hate cutting onions because most of the time you need to cut like 3 of them, and so you need to peel 3 of them, and so you have a higher
Milk
chance
is
that
a
you'll
drink. I don't know
probably
what you
cry
mean.
at the end of it. And if you have just one,
I love milk. I would eat cookies with milk every day if I could and not gain 40 pounds for sure. I love milk.
onion, you have to peel 1 onion, and you might not cry. So I'm pro big onion. At least I would like to try and cook with it. And also it explains why a lot of American recipes say, like, hey, use like half an onion. What do you mean half an onion? It's like 2 slices of onion. Next up on our list, fast food. I mean, I like fast food. It's fast, it's most of the time it's food. I grew up eating McDonald's, so it's my oftentimes go-to comfort food. But my recent discovery was that, well, in Europe, we have, or well, in EU, not in Europe. In EU, there's 55,000 fast food restaurants, which is actually way less than I anticipated. And we have 91,000 supermarkets and grocery stores, which is also way less than I anticipated.
Oh, I lost the
Okay,
camera.
looking back, I genuinely can't believe these numbers. They seem too unreal, and I only found them in one not so trustworthy source. But I still wanted to keep this segment since I do make a good point, I think. But just don't really trust these numbers, I guess. And let
I
me
don't
know
think
if you
there are
actually know the real
198
numbers.
million.
Great. Thank you.
How is that possible? The reason why I decided to look into the numbers of this is I remember seeing a video about someone explaining how it is to live in America. Is that you drive with your car, you pass by 5 fast food restaurants, Taco Bell, KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, etc. And then, only then, you get to a supermarket. So you are basically tempted by these super fast and easy options that have a drive-through instead of going to a grocery store. It is way easier and more convenient to just go to McDonald's, get your stuff, and then go home. And that's one of the main reasons why America is overweight, is not because that they're lazy, it's mainly because of their environment. They're surrounded by so many options that are convenient and easy and tasty and delicious that is difficult to resist. And we're just human. If your culture is local fresh food and you're surrounded by many beautiful fruits and vegetables, you're probably more likely to get those instead of, unhealthy cookies. Plus, when you eat fast food, you're more likely to get.
So she is partly right, I think, but I think she's missing the point, the bigger point, that in the US, fast food at least used to be a lot cheaper than healthy food. And so if you're a family on a fixed income and you're working 60 hours a week and you don't want to spend all, you can't afford to buy. A lot of times people simply couldn't afford to buy a lot of fresh, healthy foods and then come home after working a 12-hour day and cooking them. So it's a lot easier just to stop off at Kentucky Fried Chicken, buy a bucket of chicken for the family because you're tired. You don't want to come home and cook. It all comes down to the work culture and work environment. Especially, I mean, obesity is highest in lower income households. You would think, a lower income household will have less food, but they have a higher they tend to eat more fast food and have a higher and eat more processed food. And so it's all of that food is cheaper than eating healthy. If eating healthy was easier and eating healthy was cheaper, they would do that. It's not necessarily. I mean, availability is an aspect, but I think the larger aspect is about ability to afford food, less than um, a less than access. Plus, a lot of people live, especially lower income families, live in what is considered a food desert, where you don't have access to healthy, healthy, healthy as you don't have as much access to healthy foods. You only have access to these lower cost, higher processed foods.
Get hungrier faster, even though you ate so much food. And the food tastes so good, you just want to have more of it. And food addiction is a real thing, and it's so difficult
Maybe
to deal
so.
with because you
Maybe
have to
so.
have food to survive. You can't escape it. So you have to somehow deal with it. In Japan, for example, it's so easy to go to a 7-Eleven, get something like relatively healthy or nutritious for affordable prices, and you're good to go. If a grocery store was 10 minutes away from your house and a McDonald's was 30 minutes away from your house, you're probably more likely to go to a grocery store unless you're really craving fast food. So you get what I mean. It's bizarre. The next big topic on my list is car culture. This country is very car oriented.
Okay, so she said there was. I mean, I know she said that her number was wrong, but I just wanted to correct the number. there are 207,827 fast food restaurant businesses in the U.S. as of 2023, an increase of 1.5%. So 207,000. There was 55,000 in Europe. The population of the U.S. is 350 million, and the population of Europe is 742 million. So, I mean, yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of fast food restaurants, but not as many as she had on there. There's 207,000.
I mean, it makes sense because of the past, you know. They were like, "Ooh, cars are so cool. Let's make everything for cars." And then they did, and now it's not that great. It's not really good for the environment or the people. I've heard that many of American cities are not really walkable. They come to
They're
Europe,
not.
they're like, wow, everything is so walkable. That's why they're so fit, because they just walk all the time. I know that New York is pretty walkable, Chicago is pretty walkable. So there are cities that are walkable. Maybe it's mainly the city centers. Some neighborhoods are also walkable, but if you see in this picture, I don't see any pavement or sidewalks.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah.
you can only drive somewhere with a car. You could walk there, but it's just unsafe. If you're an American watching this, hey, I would like to know if your neighborhood is walkable or not. Or if you live in a neighborhood like this that's like suburban.
The neighborhood I grew up in was technically walkable because there were sidewalks. You could walk the streets, but you couldn't walk to. There weren't. It wasn't really easy to walk to, say, a grocery store or any entertainment. There was nothing like that to walk where I lived. Like I could walk to my friend's house who lived down the street, but I couldn't walk to. I couldn't walk to go to the movies or go to the grocery store. But like I can't walk to go to the movies here. I have to take the bus, take metro, but it's still a walkable city, you know?
I live in Germany in like a little town that nobody really knows about.
She doesn't
And
live in
I even
Berlin.
have sidewalks that I can walk on. And I can easily, with my little 2 feet, go to the grocery store that's like a 20-minute walk away, buy my groceries, and then go back where I belong, which is in my room playing The Sims. But in America, to get to a grocery store safely, you have to get into the car, drive 5 minutes, get your stuff, and drive back. That's a thing.
Yeah, it is a
And,
thing.
you know, let me know how it is to live there. Continuing
So we just
on
want
the
to edit
car culture, you also
this
have a
40 minutes
lot of parking spots.
we gotta
Like
cut some
way
of
too
this.
many parking spots. In the EU, we have 253 million cars, registered cars, and 300 million parking spots, which a lot of them are just on the street, as in like not in a dedicated parking spot like this, but just like on the curb or on the side of the sidewalk. You know what I mean? In the US, they have 283 million
Some
registered
places.
vehicles, and
I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Some places, yeah, you could drive. I think mine was like 10 minutes, but like you have to cross a lot of busy intersections, and yeah, it's just not walkable. The walkability has less to do with, well, a lot of it is distance, but a lot of it is, like she said, no sidewalks, or you have to walk along major busy streets.
2 billion parking spots. 2 billion parking spots. It's nice. If you like visit a city, you don't have to stress about parking, or stress less about parking.
You do have to
Because
stress.
going to like Paris or Amsterdam with a car, I feel like that's just impossible to find parking.
Yeah, I
if you're
would
like
never do
just
that.
traveling around.
Ever.
In countries like Germany or the Netherlands, it is way more convenient to just go there by public transport and then go to your desired destination by foot and then go back, instead of going there by car and just like trying to find a parking spot, because most likely you'll park way further away than you would like to, and then you would still have to walk where you need to be. So
Yeah.
what's great about public transport is that you can just have your book and you can just read your book, or you can do some emails.
Sure. Yeah, for
if you
sure.
want to. You can just stare out the window and look at the scenery. With a car, you have to be engaged and drive. You can listen to a podcast, but you can't really do anything else in the meantime if you are the one driving. And a lot of Americans do drive alone, so they are the one driving, so they cannot just take a book and read it. As you can tell by
You want to see where I lived? I lived right here. Can you see my cursor? I don't know if you can see my cursor, but see this dot right here, this square right here in the middle of Texas. That is where I lived. I don't know if I don't know if you can see that or not. I can't see it on my screen. Can you see my cursor? I can't tell if you can see my cursor or not.
this map,
But I live right
the
there.
really red color means that 80 to 90% of people drive alone. So a lot of it is dark red. This study.
Oh, let's edit layout. I don't need to do that. Okay. Yeah, so you can see I lived right here.
We also looked into how many people do carpooling,
This
and
little
it is pink. So 5 to 10%
pink right there.
is pink that do carpooling. The
Right
orange
about-
one
about
is
right
10 to 15. So not a lot of people do this, which makes sense. I mean, I don't want to grab a stranger along. Maybe we live in different areas. It makes sense. And also, what is this? And public transit. This is the map of people taking public transit to work. Again, pink, not a lot of people. And it makes sense because
Nobody where I'm from takes public transportation to work. I mean, it's not convenient. You have to drive to get to a bus station. You have to get to a place to catch the bus. So like, there's no point of even taking the bus. When I lived closer to downtown, public transportation was great in downtown Dallas, like in the city center. Public transportation was perfectly fine. We had a tram that ran through the center, and you could walk the center. I mean, it was perfectly fine. But once you got out of the center, nobody's taking it.
public transport is difficult to implement in such a big country that is so wide and so what is the word for it? So urban sprawl. Many US cities and metropolitan areas are characterized by urban sprawl with a low population density and expansive suburban development.
Oh,
so
Erica, I think
it's
we
just
could
big.
use a little bit of
Yeah. It
editing
makes a
on
lot of
this
sense
one.
why cars are so
Girl,
popular. But
this is a long one.
also, it's a bit sad. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit sad. Maybe you disagree. I mean, public transport does have its disadvantages, especially if it's Deutsche Bahn, because you're going to be always late if you're using Deutsche Bahn.
No doubt.
Somehow, it's really surprising every time the train is late, or well, every other time. It's a gamble if the train is going to be on time. Whoopsies. The other train has priority. Whoopsies, it's snowing, guys. We didn't know that snow exists, so we don't know what to do. We don't know how to be on time. We are Germans, but we have no idea how to be German. Punctuality? Who is she? Never heard of her. Last thing about cars. Eating in cars. I feel like it is very American / North American to eat in your car, to just get your meal at a drive-thru and then munch on it in your car. From time to time, it is quite nice.
As an addendum to this, what do all these TikTok food people always eat their meals and film their videos in their car? Why not go sit at a table? I don't understand why all of the TikTok, YouTube food people sit in a car and taste their things. I can't for the life of me understand it. Eating in the car is a way because we have to drive so much. I would drive between an hour and 45 minutes to work every day, to and from work. And so if I wanted to leave, like if I had to get there if say I had to be at work at 8, then had to leave the house at 6:30. So I'm stopping and getting a coffee, and I'm stopping and getting something to eat on the way so that I'm not late for work. So that's partly why we eat in the car, is because we got to drive so much to get to and from work.
If you're on a road trip, or if you're on a small road trip, you can just get your meal at a drive-thru and continue driving while you eat your food, while you get your body fueled with something not so healthy but delicious. But usually what I do, if I go to a fast food place with a car with my friends or family, we park our car, we go to McDonald's, we get our food, and then we sit in McDonald's We
And
eat our food, and then we go home. Because who doesn't want to listen to the ambience of a McDonald's?
I mean, I would go get my food, go through the drive-through, get my food, and bring it home and eat it. But I'm not going to eat it in the car unless I'm, like I said, going to or from work.
It's beautiful. No, but it's just nice to sit down, eat the meal, people watch, complain about other people being too loud, and then going to our car and then going by our day, through our day, along our day. But instead, what I've heard in America/North America, they get their food at a drive-through, they park their car, and they eat it in their car. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I understand. It's nice. It's convenient. Also, nobody is coming up to you and small talking about your day because you guys love small talk for some reason. Again, nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just a bit, I don't know, unusual. Not unusual, but isolating and can be
What?
lonely. I'm not saying that if you're alone, you're lonely, but yeah,
I
you
lost
catch
the
my
train
drift.
of what she was
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
that's all. Next slide.
You lost me.
Nutrition labels. Why are your nutrition labels based on serving sizes? Because serving sizes are subjective. You can't tell me that 7 M&Ms is a serving size. We both know I'm going to eat half of that bag. And then I'm going to regret it because I'm going to feel sick. But I'm going to eat half of it. And then I think it also makes it way more difficult to compare two products to each other. Because the serving size on the peanut M&Ms is 7 M&Ms. And the serving size on the caramel M&Ms is 12 M&Ms. In most European countries, they measure it by 100 grams. Plus, oftentimes they also include the serving size. So you buy a chocolate bar, it says 100 grams, how many things you get. And then the serving size of this specific chocolate bar is 52 grams. So the serving size and then the rest of the information. So what I usually do if I want to, for example, buy a bucket of ice cream, is I take 2 different ice creams that I'm interested in and look at the nutritional label and compare the calories and the proteins and added sugars. And then from there, decide which one I want to buy. Is it healthy what I'm doing? No. Am I going to still do it? Probably yes. But that way, it's way easier to compare them on the spot. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really get this serving size system. The internet says it's more and more convenient for the customers, but I don't buy it. The next thing I don't understand is credit score. Is this a thing in European countries? Because I've never heard about this.
I have a food scale. That's how I measure my food. And you do have credit scores, sort of. You have the Shufa. That's very similar. I mean, it's different, but it's similar.
Granted, I never took a loan. From what I understand and from what I've heard from other YouTubers talk about it, is that you are kind of encouraged to take loans and then pay them off kind of immediately to get the credit score high. So that in the future,
Aha, see, that's where she's wrong. You're encouraged to pay them back, but not quickly. You want to show a length, you want to show a payment history over time. So you're encouraged to pay it on time, but pay it and pay them more than the minimum, but pay it off over time. Your score is going to get better if you pay it off a little bit over time rather than paying it off all at once, because you're going to show that credit history being built.
Buy a house and you get a mortgage, you have a lower interest rate or something along those lines. So basically, you have to prove that you're a good paying little citizen that will pay off the loan.
Economy.
You don't have to have this credit score to get like a loan, but it is highly beneficial that you do. Does this type of system exist in other countries?
What did she say? Did she say you don't have to have a high credit score?
Or something along those lines. So basically, you have to prove that you're a good paying little citizen that will pay off the loan. You don't have to have this credit score to get like a loan.
You definitely do have to have a credit score to get a loan. Get a car loan. Okay. There are places who will loan to you with really poor credit or with no credit. But you're talking about like 18% interest on a car loan. So 18 to 20% interest on a car loan if you have bad credit, as opposed to like 6% interest or 7% interest or whatever. So, yeah.
But it is highly beneficial that you do. Does this type of system exist in other countries? And if yes, then which ones? I think in a lot of other countries, they just look at the income, the employment, the, how likely you are to pay off these loans and if you have any previous debt. Back to food. Again, we all have weird foods.
How would they know if you didn't have any unpaid debt unless they had some way to check that, which is what the credit score does. I'm a strong opponent of the credit system. I think it's awful, but I'm sure there's one here too. The Shufa, it's got to be the Shufa, right? The Shufa is that. Let me
And
know
some
the
of them,
comments.
even I am scared to try. Fully understandable. And what I recently discovered is these foods.
Yeah,
Well,
nobody
American
wants
food. When I first saw them pop
Nobody
up on
eats
my
this
TikTok
stuff.
page, I was like, oh, why are you combining marshmallows with Cool Whip, Snickers, and apples? And
Nobody
also
eats this
canned
stuff though.
pineapple. What
Not on a
what's
regular
happening?
basis.
Take it away. Why is everybody eating this? After that, I was like, oh, I think this is just like
Yeah,
something that someone came up in the 70s or 50s. So people were a bit
for sure.
bored
That's
during that
absolutely
time,
what they
or
do.
more like
Yeah.
they're exploring new possibilities with new inventions. So this is what they came up with. My biggest
It's
pet
bedtime,
peeve
y'all.
with these recipes is that all of them are called a salad. This is a Frog Eye salad,
Oh no, for
a
sure.
Snickers salad, and
No, but he just asked about how do you measure 52 grams of chocolate, and I said, well, with the scale. But no, you're right. Absolutely, it won't help in the store.
and ambrosia salad. Why are we calling this salad? I mean, if someone asked me, hey,
This is just stuff grandmas make. Grandmas make for picnics and things. This is every culture has these things. These are not things you're going to keep in your fridge every week, every day. This is just stuff you eat when you're having a special thing. I mean, like look at this. Like nobody's eating this like on a regular basis. Maybe for Thanksgiving or something, we would make a what we call a Watergate salad, which is like pistachio ice cream, pistachio pudding with pineapples and Cool Whip. I mean, it sounds terrible too, but it's quite good.
hey, do you want some frog eye salad? I would be hesitant. I would be, well, I never tried frog, but it is a salad, so I'm expecting it to have some vegetables, so it must not be that bad. So hey, why not? And then they bring me this.
Rice
I would be
salad,
like, huh,
twist salad, yeah.
okay, this is completely not what I expected. It doesn't even look like frog eyes or a salad, so I just feel lied to. Why do we have to call?
I mean, how are you going to tell me Worcester salad is any different than ambrosia salad or anything? Worcester salad is not salad either. It's sausage and mayonnaise, for Christ's sake. And I'm sure Erica has these things in Riga too, in Latvia. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have that.
Call it a salad? Just call it a dessert or a little treat or a little concoction of some sort. Not a salad. The one thing that you did phenomenally is Rocky Road. I mean, not only does it look like a rocky road, it is so addictively good. It's like a mix of everything covered in chocolate. It sounds not that appetizing, but if it's made right, it's too good. It's dangerous. It's dangerously good. But hey, who am I to complain about this since my culture has this thing called Maisezsuppe, which is literally translated to bread soup and is actually translated to bread soup. It basically looks like this. Unappetizing, I know. It is not a soup, but it is made out of bread. I do like it. I think it's a nice little dessert. But until the age of 16, I was convinced that bread soup was just a soup made out of bread because we didn't.
That's bread pudding. That's a bread pudding. That's the same thing. I mean, the Brits have all kinds of pudding. Like in the U.S., pudding. And here, a pudding. If you go to the store and get a pudding in the little containers, it's like a custard, right? Like a mousse. In Britain, pudding can mean anything from that to some sort of bread product. So take it up with the Brits, what you call pudding. That looks like a bread pudding.
Have enough ingredients back in the day, and so they came up with this. No, it was a dessert. I was
cheesecake.
Disappointed.
I like
also, we
cheesecake.
have salads that look like this, which is like covered in mayo. At least it has vegetables, okay? But it is covered in mayo.
No, it's not the same. But isn't it a way to get loans of some sort? Like if you're getting a house loan, are they going to look at the Shufa?
Could you select one? The tipping culture in America.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting, to say the least. Typically, when you go out to get a meal, you are recommended to tip from 50 to 20%, which is a big percentage. The thing is that servers are basically living off of tips. They're paid $2 to $3 an hour, and the rest is paid by tips from customers. Of course, different states have different laws, so maybe some are more generous and they actually give the minimum wage. Plus, it also depends on the restaurant, but usually they are paid very, very, very little, and the tips are their livelihood. Of course, the employer at the end of the month has to make sure that they do make the minimum wage from their tips, which is like, dude, this is bizarre. Let's just stop tipping. As in, give them what they deserve and just not tip. In many European countries, it is not required for you to tip, but it is really nice if you do.
Yeah, tipping is just the way for store restaurant owners to pass along the cost of employment to the customer. And the argument that people make is, well, if they raise people's salaries, they'll just raise the price of the goods. Well, what do you think they're doing when you require tips? You're just raising the price of the good. So you're directly passing along the benefit, passing along the cost of employment to the customer. It doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes from 5 to 15% if the service was really good. And also in different countries, they have different etiquette. In Germany, for example, you tip while you pay, but in France, you leave a tip on the table after you pay and then you leave. I think people are not really happy about this situation themselves. It's not really a good system, I think. I think a lot of Americans would agree to that as well. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment what you like about America, like you genuinely like about America, in the comments. If you did not enjoy the video, feel free to roast my country in the comments and be creative. I don't want to hear, oh, your country is so small and unknown, nobody knows it. Yeah, duh, I know, been there, done that. So I think that's it for the video.
Well, thank you, Erica. That was really good. Um, I really, I always like watching these, seeing what other people think about my country and vice versa. So, guys, it's late. I got to go to bed. I got to get up early in the morning. I had not planned on going an hour and a half. I had not planned on watching a 40-minute video, but it works. I enjoy that very much, and I enjoyed talking to you guys. So I will be doing this every Monday night. So we'll be having a live stream. We can hang out, maybe watch videos or something. We'll figure out what we're doing on the day of. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll talk next week. Wednesday, I'm premiering a video for a video I made on the American health insurance system. So yeah, let's watch that. Hope you guys have a good evening. I'll see you later. Y'all take it easy. Are we out of here? Are we still on? In stream.